Chapter 2. Oh my God! Jade is definitely the excitable type. Right now, she's squeezing my arm and squealing in my ear in one of those ways where I'm concerned she may not be able to keep her thoughts discreetly contained in her head. It probably won't matter anyway, given that we're sitting among my JV wrestling teammates at the top row of our standing room-only high school gymnasium bleachers, looking down on hundreds of classmates and teachers, parents and neighbors, shouting and clapping for the pride of Ashton, Michigan, our state-ranked varsity team. Jade leans in. Did you hear me? We've been sister tight since we terrorized Brownie's Troop 77 together, like 8 years ago. She comes to every wrestling match and even watches the action on the mat as intently as I do, though usually for much less sports-related reasons. Do you see? She's downright giddy. I roll my eyes. It's the third period of the 170-pound match. Trey Fignorelli, our team co-captain, my brother Cole is the other, and 3-year letter winner just hit a standing switch that took him and his South Lyon opponent out of bounds.
No points,
the referee shouts.
Same way.
Trey, reddish floppy hair sprouting from under his headgear, picks himself up and shakes out his hands. The South Lyon wrestler stands up as well. That's when Jade blurts into my ear, Are you even looking? I am. At Trey. He's tired. He always shakes out his hands between drills near the end of practice. It's his little quirk. Why I notice these things, I'm not sure, but I do. I take a gulp from my water bottle. I'm still in my singlet and warm-ups. My sweat isn't totally dry, but I'm a bit smelly, too. Our JV team won, but I didn't. I wrestled in one of the exhibition matches after the regular lineup was done. Got my clock cleaned. I don't think my opponent was too thrilled to be wrestling a girl, so he dispensed with any semblance of chivalry and took me down with a double leg, then cross-faced me without any respect for my button nose into a far-side cradle. I was behind 5-0 before my brain unscrambled. I did have an escape in the second period, for what it was worth. Very little, but then gave up another takedown in the third for a 7-1 shellacking. I glance at the clock. 54 seconds left. Trey's up 4-2, but that's not what Jade sees. He's huge, she says, giggling. I purse my lips but don't look at her. That'll just egg her on. I know you notice, she says. I don't. You do. I'm watching my teammate. Jade laughs. Teammate? Yeah, I say without any conviction whatsoever. Mel, she says, if it wasn't for Cole, Trey wouldn't even know your name. Yeah, well, I start to say, but I know she's right. Trey kneels down at the center circle, taking a last deep breath before he sets himself in the down position. His opponent is facing the South Lyon coach, who sits on a folding chair at the corner of the mat.
Gotta turn him,
the coach shouts.
Off the whistle, grab an ankle and Turk, then put in the half.
Reasonable, but rather obvious suggestions. When the South Lyon wrestler turns around, Jade's distraction is more than apparent. His white singlet with a gold-colored band running diagonal across his chest at just the right angle seems as sheer as satin, and for a moment it's as if he's standing on the mat wearing only red wrestling shoes, a yellow sash, and an abundantly filled jockstrap. Jade squeezes my arm harder and practically howls. I glance around us. Thankfully, the crowd's cheering has begun to swell in anticipation of the referee's whistle, and nobody seems to notice. Ashton's a wrestling town, has been for decades. That's what our legendary coach Hillman reminds us of in practice every day. And if he didn't, the long list of state champions and place winners displayed prominently in our wrestling room would certainly hammer the idea home. Ashton fans know what they're seeing. They're seeing their co-captain less than a minute away from securing an early December season opening team victory in the bottom position in the center circle, while his opponent waits for the referee to motion him on top. Mel, Jade says. I shush her. Don't shush me. Watch the wrestling, I say, gesturing down toward the mat. Jade purses her lips and goes into pissy mode, pulling a cell phone from her handbag. I'll just check my messages, she says in an annoying way. Why don't you check yours? Oh, that's right, you can't. I offer my best bitter smile. Mom put the kibosh on my texting and calling when I went a little overboard one month. Actually, 2 last summer. So now I'm practically the only person at Ashton High who doesn't have a cell phone. Just watch, I say to Jade.